What is going on, y'all? Welcome to the Spectacular Spoiler League. I'm the Pandan Superman, the mayor of Hype City, HazyRome, and as always, I'm joined by the Gotham Knight, the Prime Minister of Post-Production, DeepBoyce, and we are here to talk about Teen Titans, the Judas Contract. Teen Titans, Judas Contract.
Oh boy.
The animated DC movie that recently dropped. We are going to do a little review, a little conversation about said movie. So me and DeepBoyce, we've checked out the movie, man. DeepBoyce, man.
Yeah, you gotta hit him with the Peter Griffin shin splints when he hits himself. Just I mean, I guess start off the bat.
Yes. Pun intended. The bat. Batman.
Start off right off the bat. I didn't think it was terrible.
No.
It wasn't as bad as The Killing Joke, but it's been following this trend of the last, 4 years of DC animated films where they've kind of missed the mark.
Yeah, ever since like Justice League War, I feel like I think that was the first movie after Flashpoint.
Yeah.
Flashpoint Paradox. So ever since then, ever since they basically started making movies based off the New 52, I feel like there's been something that's missing there.
Yeah, I don't know. It's maybe they're not putting the right people on it or whatever memo they sent out. It's this, I don't know, this need where they have to try and make things darker and grittier, but it's a half-assed attempt at that.
Sure.
That's going on with the animated films. But the first thing that popped to my attention, especially after seeing the last movie I saw before this was Justice League Dark, which I liked. I recommend people watch that.
I started watching it after you recommended it to me, actually, and it's pretty good, man.
It's good, and the first thing going from that Justice League Dark to Teen Titans Judas Contract is the animation.
Sure.
Animation, Judas League, and Teen Titans Judas Contract. A little rough around the edges, a little stiff.
Yeah,
a little weird.
It leaves a lot left to be desired, man. I mean, when you look at the animation, I mean, first of all, the action scenes. I mean, it seemed a little bit like I almost felt like I was skipping frames, almost, if that makes sense. Like,
yeah,
it didn't seem like the motion for the human characters was as fluid as it could be.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing was like the facial expressions and like the interaction with other characters. Mm-hmm. You know, it just seemed a little bit awkward. You know what I mean? And it's very evident that the budget was a lot less for this than Justice League Dark.
Now, it's funny you mentioned that. I did look up the budget, and this is according to Wikipedia, so I don't know how true this is. It's Wikipedia. It's not official. Yeah. It's usually someone goes on and writes it up. But the budget apparently is $3.5 million. Now, that is a lot of money. I don't know how much that is in terms of animation or in relation to other DC animation films they've done.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I kind of feel that just a ballpark guess, I think that should be enough or more should be done with $3.5 million than what they ultimately dropped with Teen Titans Judas Contract. And a difficult thing about this is I'm not an artist. It's sometimes difficult for me to, I feel, judge art. Yeah. And critique art because I can't draw myself and you know, art is very subjective as well, but I agree things seemed a little odd in terms of the fluidity of the animation and
sure.
I think there's also something to be said about the actual drawing of the characters. Mm-hmm. They seemed kind of bland in my opinion. I think really only two characters that I thought were well done were Starfire and Deathstroke.
Yeah. Yeah, there was lacking details in terms of like, for me, facial expressions. Like the detailing on the faces looked a little off. Especially, I feel like the biggest offender of this was Jaime Reyes, aka Blue Beetle. Like I kept looking at his face and just something was off about like almost I couldn't get the emotion that they were trying to portray. Mm-hmm. There were a couple scenes where they had like characters do almost like a deadpan or like a look on their face where they're processing something that's emotional to them or something that they're supposed to be expressing emotion in. Yeah. For example, when Jaime was talking to his parents via video chat, there was kind of a moment where it froze on his face for a while, and I was like, it almost like it was an awkward amount of time that it froze for because I was like, what exactly are we trying to portray here? Is he gonna say something? Is something about to happen? Like there were a lot of scenes like that.
Yeah.
Especially with Tara and her scenes interacting with like Beast Boy. They were just like an awkward length of time spent on things.
Yeah, the pacing I think is the biggest problem with the movie, and I think that's why it's just kind of unremarkable. I think I just find it to be subpar.
Yeah.
Because this is one of, if not the greatest Teen Titan stories. The Judas
It's probably
Contract.
the most well known, I would say, at the very least.
And at the same time, it's been done before, much better.
Sure.
In the original Teen Titans cartoon, which they spent, I mean, they had plenty of time. It was an entire season of a cartoon or number of episodes. So that was, I guess, a bit of a problem. I haven't read the actual comic myself. I'm not even entirely familiar with the story, just from what I've seen in the cartoon. But the pacing, like we said, not just from scene to scene, but just the overall movie was just weird. You have the fight scene at the beginning. And by the way, if you haven't already noticed, this is Spectacular Spoiler League. We're going to be talking about things that happen in the movie. So if you haven't seen it, you're shit out of luck. We're going to spoil it for you, unfortunately.
Tell them.
But the beginning, there's a fight scene. You kind of think to yourself, after you've kind of watched the movie or halfway through the movie, what was the point of that initial fight scene? Where it's like a young Robin, like Dick Grayson, and when they first meet Starfire, and it's a younger team, and then eventually, because most of the movie it's Starfire and Dick Grayson as the leaders or the mentors of the new Teen Titans, led by Damian Wayne, and you're kind of wondering what was the whole point of that? Why did they need to show that? Why did they need to start the movie off with that? And then again, just throughout the movie, there are scenes where there's no chemistry between the team.
Sure.
There's that scene you were talking about where Blue Beetle was talking with his parents, and the whole thing, I guess the whole point of it was to convey that he misses his family, or that it's your turn to see. It's time to see his end of problems. Everyone's got their own problems. Tara has problems, and Beast Boy has problems, and this person has problems.
And to their credit, they were trying to give us a reason to care about these characters.
Yeah.
So I can't hate on that, but I'll allow you to continue with that one.
Yeah, no, it's just it's the first half of the movie. There's not really much going on, and it feels like they kind of stretched it out a bit, which is odd, given that it's a story arc or a story that has been done, has actually been quote unquote stretched out within a show, a number of episodes. But they did this weird thing where in one movie, it felt like it was dragging.
Sure.
And you're just like, okay, well, let's get to whatever's going on here. We got the Teen Titans. We got Brother Blood and his cult. And it's just like, okay, I kind of know what you're leading up to, but you're not really setting up the dominoes right. I'm not entirely interested. And then you also have Deathstroke, who I thought was misused a bit. I mean, it's difficult to do. He wasn't terrible because Deathstroke is pretty cool. And usually, he serves well as just a dude who's doing a job. But I thought they could have used him a bit better in this. I didn't get the sense that he was lethal, unless only that one scene where they strategically take out the Teen Titans, and you see how much of a beast he is. But
yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, part of the reason why we kind of felt like Deathstroke was middling is because in the comics, his reasoning for going after the Teen Titans is because they killed his son, Grant Wilson.
Yeah.
So he was pissed off about this. But this goes back to DC's constant pushing of the Damian Wayne character, which I'm not against. Mm-hmm. But, this movie is clearly a sequel to, I think, Son of Batman.
Yeah.
Which I believe Deathstroke was in, and Damian Wayne and him kind of had a conflict, and I'm pretty sure Damian Wayne beat him. Mm-hmm. Because Deathstroke was trying to get in with the League of Assassins. Mm-hmm. So in this movie, it's like he's just tied at Damian Wayne for foiling his plans as Son of Batman. I was just like, you go from having someone be torn about the death of their son to, hey, I hate this little kid, so I'm gonna take vengeance on this whole team. It's like it seems a little shallow.
Yeah, and again, it's odd. I mean, I don't want to keep comparing it to the Teen Titans cartoon.
Yeah.
But that Slade Wilson, he's just pretty much evil. Like, I don't think you ever got to know what his intentions were.
Right.
And that was well done. I thought you can at least excuse that because he was very interesting. But in this, I totally agree. It's almost as if you have to do homework to get the context and the backstory from watching that previous movie. And I know that, this movie also is somewhat of a sequel or is related to a previous movie as well, which is Justice League versus Teen Titans, or Teen Titans versus Justice League. I forgot the name of it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like the formation of the new Teen Titans squad.
Sure.
And I guess that has the missing, interactions where you kind of get to like the team and you see them work together and work through their issues. So I guess maybe that's the defense of the movie, because it kind of uses that as a crutch, because it is related. But this was just, again, a missed opportunity because it wasn't greater than the sum of its parts.
Right. I mean, I want to kind of, since we're on the topic of Deathstroke, I kind of want to slide to the side about something that we both pointed out as being an issue, which is some content that seemed somewhat inappropriate in terms of tone.
Yeah.
In particular, I think everyone who's watched the movie has looked at Terra and Deathstroke and that relationship being crazy inappropriate. Like, I don't know how. Like, I didn't listen. Terra, for all intents and purposes, she may be 18, but she does not look 18 in that movie.
Not at all.
And I thought she was like a teenager, like a young person.
Yeah, we're looking at 14, 15 years old here.
Yes, and she has. I don't know if Slade has ever reciprocated this relationship, but she has like she makes sexual advances towards Deathstroke. And it's crazy. It's really awkward. And it's particularly one scene where she has makeup on and she's wearing like some type of like a nightgown. Like a nightgown. A little bit too sexy for someone who looks her age, whatever age she is. Yeah. And she's like putting her arms around him and trying to kiss him, and even if she was 18 and legal, Deathstroke is mad old. Like, he's not a young buck. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Wow. Deathstroke, I would say at that point, he's probably in his 40s or 50s. You know what I'm saying? Yes. At least from my guess.
Nah,
like, Deathstroke is not a young guy.
No, he's up there in age. It was very weird. And it was particularly that one scene. Throughout the movie, if had that scene not been there, it just, this push into, I guess, sexual topics or a sexual tone would have just been kind of whack. But that scene in particular I was just kind of sitting there watching and just
it was uncomfortable.
I said to myself, what the heck is this? Like, they should have not had that in the movie. I mean, all these things that we've talked about, even if she were attracted to him, even if she were that young and she were attracted to him, because I mean that happens when you're young. Sometimes you're attracted to someone that's older than you.
Yeah, he saved her too.
Yeah, I that makes sense. But to have her, just the setup and what I was actually seeing was very odd, and I don't know why that was in the movie. And again, going back to this half-assed attempt of making things dark or darker than they need to be, I kind of feel that the sexual overtones were part of that. Mm-hmm. I think they were sitting in the boardroom meeting and they were just like, oh, well, they're the Teen Titans. But, teens, hormones are raging. So let's just throw that in there every once in a while. And it came off as very awkward because clearly it's a lot of old dudes writing this and drawing this. And it doesn't come off well. It doesn't work at all.
In particular, I'm going to point out, like in the comics and in this story, it's pretty well known if you're familiar with the comic and the storyline for the Judas Contract that Terra and Beast Boy, they kind of have like this thing. It's not really defined, but Beast Boy definitely likes her. Yeah. So there's a scene where they kiss twice. Yeah. And this is also this is tone, this is animation. They're kissing for a really long time. Mm-hmm. And you hear the sounds, and they're not even moving. Like, they're just literally staying in the same position, like lip locked. There's no head movement. It just looked very weird. Yeah, I'm like, there's these enjoyment sounds coming from them, and they're just stuck together in the same like frame and pose. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, this is weird, man. And then like she spends the whole movie basically seeming like she hates Beast Boy. Like, she's really, like, the vitriol she has against Beast Boy is real. Yeah. It's not even like, she's playing hard to get. Like, she almost seems like she hates him. And then all of a sudden she's like, you're cute. Kiss me. It's like,
Yeah.
I feel like it gives like an inappropriate idea of what it's like, when one person likes another person and they hook up. It's just, I don't know, something there was a disconnect there.
Yeah, it was just,
I
think that's part of the pacing. I think that's honestly part of the pacing there, and it just wasn't well thought out from scene to scene. And,
Sure.
And even some of the individual scenes, like you said, I like that kissing scene. It was just like, what am I watching right now? What's going on?
Right. And to tie everything together with the tone and the plot and the pacing, they spend time on something like that. They spend time on the relationship between her and Deathstroke. Mm-hmm. But then, for example, when the rest of the Titans are captured and Nightwing is gonna go save them, they just randomly cut to a scene where he's on the bottom of a truck heading into the Brother Blood facility, mm-hmm. and I'm like, how does he just know where this facility is? Mm-hmm. Like they didn't show any way where he would know where this headquarters was. He just all of a sudden knows where it is. Yeah. I mean, I think there was a scene where he looked at a tracker that Terra had. Mm-hmm. Maybe that was it. I don't know. I don't even know. I just felt like there was no explanation there. But I'm like, meanwhile, you're spending time, watching two teens lip lock. I'm just like, I don't know. I just felt like there was a lot of like the pacing, the plot just seemed very inconsistent. And I mean, listen, DeepBoyce, man, if you were to rate it out of 10, what are you giving it? What's your score? I'm
giving it a 4 out of 10.
4 out of 10.
Yes.
Good God, DC, you just got on by me. Wow.
For me,
wow.
5 or 6, that's average, and I think it's not terrible. I know as 4 sounds like it's terrible, but I think it's fine. 5. Just to follow my rule, it's subpar. 5 out of 10.
Okay.
Just to follow my own logic.
I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 10 as well. Just because I struggled. Like the first half of the movie, I fell asleep twice trying to watch it. Yeah. It was just, and I've watched a lot of those DC animated films, and they've caught me. Like Justice League Dark caught me. Yeah. When I started watching it. This does not. This was really boring. It was a struggle to get through. I don't know. Any final words, DeepBoyce?
Yeah, I mean, it's just we worry about the direction of DC animated films.
Definitely.
Justice League Dark, liked it. Just Teen Titans vs. Justice League or whatever it's called. That was entertaining, and that was related to this. And this is a step down. And how could I forget the Killing Joke? That was horrible. So it's just not a good look coming off of that. But we'll see what comes next. There isn't really much news except the Harley Quinn / Batman movie, which we'll talk about later on.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, if you liked anything you heard today, hit us with a like or subscribe. Let us know what you thought of Teen Titans Judas Contract. Eager to hear what you guys think about the movie, what you guys thought about the movie, and don't hesitate to comment on anything we've said in regards to the sexuality, because I feel like that's a big issue that could be discussed for a lot longer than we have for this video. But anyway, guys, we're getting out a whole lot of spoilers. We'll see you guys on the next one. Have fun. Peace out.